So let's start with the bell. First time doing it.
Yeah.
The level of excitement for you and the team to be here at the New York Stock Exchange.
Yeah, we're grateful to be here and really looking forward to it. We've gathered our team as well as a bunch of high-profile people from the industry to help us celebrate and mark the occasion.
Undoubtedly, so many of our viewers are familiar with PRWeek overall. Maybe not so much about the awards. How did the whole thing start?
This is the 26th year. We call them the Oscars of PR. Don't tell the authorities that we're using that phrase. They're the gold standard, as you said. So the best work, the best individuals, the best teams in PR and communications and branding. And that, this industry has just become so important. Everything's about communication these days, and you can see that in business. So CEOs understand they've got to be great communicators. They can't just be finance people, and the PR teams in-house and both in the PR agency sector that support them, and some of the technology companies, because AI is obviously a big deal. It's just, I don't think PR has ever been more highly thought of, but also dealing with more and more complex challenges in terms of reputation, crises, branding, social media, you name it, internal engagement. It's just the 5th anniversary of COVID. And I think during COVID, every CEO realized they had to communicate more and more with their staffers. And staffers wanted that, right? Their employer was their most trusted sort of point of contact, especially in the lockdown period.
Tell us about some of the people, brands, or names that have won notable awards in the past.
All the big brands that you will have, see on the high street, whether it's Nike, Adidas, clothing brands, alcohol brands, automotive brands, GM, Ford, etc., etc. Every conceivable brand now needs good communications, whether it's a B2B brand, whether it's a global brand. And of course, being a global brand now means we had 60 elections last year in the globe. And in most territories, the incumbent got kicked out. So people are looking for change. So every brand has to communicate differently in every part of the world. And obviously with the new administration in the US, that's every new administration kicks up some new messaging and challenges and works in a different way. I think it's fair to say this one is unusual. So corporations and organizations of all types are having to tailor their communication. And that's the sort of work we honor. So it's whether it could be selling more sneakers, it could be changing behavior, could be changing legislation. One of the winners was about people of color being discriminated in the workplace because of the way they wore their hair. But there was a campaign that changed that in about 20 states, changed that legislation. So you're really changing lives as well as selling more stuff. That's important too.
For sure.
And it's driving the economy.
And you mentioned a few great brands there that, of course, trade publicly here at the New York Stock Exchange. We love our NYSE-listed companies. Let's conclude by talking about Communicator of the Year. What's behind that particular distinction, as well as Marissa Bodie, Wicked Star, who's named the Communicator of the Year this year? What can people expect?
Very excited about having Marissa and honoring Marissa as our Communicator of the Year. She plays Nessa Rose Throp in the film version of Wicked, and the character uses a wheelchair, and Marissa uses a wheelchair as well, and she's the first actress who uses a wheelchair in real life to play the part. It ran on Broadway for over 20 years, and that never happened. So very excited to have Marissa with us. She's a great actress, but also a great disability rights activist. She's very active on social media, and just getting the messaging over that, a lot of people forget about the disabled community and they treat them in a different way. And Marissa is trying to say, look, we're human beings like everybody else. Don't treat us differently. Obviously, we have certain arrangements that need to be made, and access. Still, many buildings are not particularly accessible. So we're really proud to honor Marissa, and she comes from a long line of people we've honored, like Malala Yousafzai, way back, the Pakistani schoolgirl who did such great work with human rights. We've had the person who started the Me Too movement. We've honored all sorts of people. We had the CEO of Feeding America during COVID, because they did such great work, keeping people, keeping the hungry fed, when everybody was sort of confined to indoors. So, and the head of PR for Ukraine, you know, a couple of years ago when the war started. So a big range of people, but all doing fantastic work and using communications to achieve their aims.
As are you and your colleagues at PR as well. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on the bell. We hope to talk to you again soon. See if they
Thank you, JD. It's a pleasure.